Tennessee football season begins a week from tomorrow, but it's flip season right now. Glenn Ellerby comes through. Kamari Blair is a part of the Tennessee class.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into your Friday morning Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys for being here, making Locked On Vols your first stop here this morning, your first watch over on YouTube, free and available. You guys know it wherever you get your podcast. Today's episode is brought to you in part by our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook, where football season right around the corner. Visit FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. Big shout out to our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Big show coming up today. Going to recap and react to the flip season for four-star offensive tackle Kamari Blair, staying in state in the end, relationships winning out as he flips from South Carolina to Tennessee. That came down yesterday. Going to recap that here in segment number one. Scouting the opponent series to, in my mind, probably the most important game on the schedule for Tennessee. I'll show my work. We're going to take a look at the Oklahoma Sooners in segment number two, and then some game day enhancements, enhancements to the game day experience were sent out via an email to Tennessee fans who are attending games at Neyland Stadium this fall. So I'm going to go over some of those changes and what fans can look forward to heading into a new season at Neyland Stadium. All that and more here on a Friday Locked On Vols. We are 8 days away from kickoff. 8 days away from kickoff. You can feel it. This time next week, me and Boogie be talking about Tennessee and Syracuse down in Atlanta. Previewing that, the last preview show before the big game coming up noon Eastern time, Saturday morning, a week from tomorrow. And man, can't wait for that. Can't wait for that. But for right now, let's talk a little recruiting. Kamari Blair, he flipped from South Carolina to Tennessee, and this is a classic example. Again, I'm gonna reference Tennessee winning out for tight end Desan Brame as well. Tennessee was the leader. Tennessee was the leader in the clubhouse for quite some time with Desan Brame. If you guys remember, going back to not last summer, the summer before, late July, August, Tennessee was in the driver's seat for Desan Brame the entire time. And then up at the very end, Oregon snatches him away. He commits to Oregon, but it wasn't, a month later that Desan Brame flipped back to the University of Tennessee. And he referenced at the time that relationships won out in the end. I wanted to be at home. I felt like home was Tennessee, and that's where I wanted to be. And I can't speak for Kamari Blair, but I can take some of the quotes that he spoke with Austin Price about over at VolQuest.com. Austin Price spoke with him, updated quotes, all that and more, like right when it happened. I don't know if anybody else in market had that, so that was awesome stuff over there at VolQuest.com. And, of course, we'll read a segment there from his high school coach for the impact analysis as well from Matt Ray coming up. But I can't speak for Kamari Blair, but he kind of referenced that as well when he talked to Austin Price yesterday. And I think this is a very similar situation. Tennessee was in the leader, was the clubhouse leader for quite some time. Tennessee was in the driver's seat. It felt like Tennessee was going to win out over the likes of South Carolina, who he obviously ended up committing to. Ole Miss was involved in that one as well. Kentucky a little bit, but really South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Tennessee, if memory serves me right. And then at the last little second, South Carolina comes in and swoops him away. Okay, we know the era that we live in. Okay, we know what is enticing some players for sure. It's no secret anymore, right? South Carolina came in at the very end and made a Tennessee was always competitive, right? But a very, very lucrative deal and kind of got him there at the end. And so he was committed to South Carolina for, gosh, guys, I want to say maybe a month. It's not been long. And then, Tennessee never went away. Tennessee just kept battling and battling and battling. He's an in-state kid, okay, from Clarksville. Just a little over an hour away, or a couple hours away to our west here in the East Tennessee, and Tennessee was able to get him to flip on Thursday morning. So this is a big win for the University of Tennessee. Kamari Blair, national prospect 274 according to the Rivals industry rankings, the 22nd offensive lineman, the 7th ranked player in the state of Tennessee. Okay, he is considered the 224th prospect in the country per Rivals specifically, 295 per ESPN, and not in the top 247 by 247 Sports. But nonetheless, this is a guy that is heavily sought after. Great size, good athleticism. We'll get to that here in a moment. 6'6", 280 pounds. He attends Kirkwood High School, again in Clarksville, Tennessee. And relationships in the end. Glenn Ellerby, Tennessee's support staff, they just wouldn't go away. And you got to give those guys, Ellerby, his staff, and the Tennessee recruiting staff, a lot of credit here. Because Tennessee was just persistent and, again, wouldn't go away. Look at the impact analysis by Matt Ray over at VolQuest.com, and there's a quote here from Kirkwood High School head coach Chad Watson as he told VolQuest, quote, I mean, honestly, I think the first thing that pops out on film is how athletic he is for a big guy. He is so athletic. We do a lot of tackle pulls. We get them out in space a lot, and he is extremely athletic, and that's good because Tennessee does a lot of that as well. Off-season-wise, we run our guys on GPS all the time, and he would hit 19 miles per hour every single day. I think that is very impressive. I think the area he has grown in the most is his strength. The kid has so much untapped potential. He has only been in the weight room now for 18, 19 months total in his life, but he is really, really strong kid and is going to develop into an even better player at the next level, end quote. That's a lot to love from that quote right there from, again, Kirkwood High School head coach Chad Watson, who coaches Kamari Blair. A lot of untapped potential, a lot of room for improvement, but the foundation is there. Watson goes on to say, we're only a third-year school, and the first day of practice was in June of 2023, and Kamari showed up that day at 6'6", 215 pounds. He is now 6'6", 285 pounds. He is completely bought into everything with the nutrition in the weight room and working hard on this. He's packed on 70 pounds and looks so much better than he did when he walked in. Man, you like that as well. Like, a lot of these guys come in, they got to put on a weight, and he'll have to put on a little bit of weight too when he gets to Tennessee, but still going from 6'6", 215 to 2 summers ago to 6'6", 285. That is a lot of improvement right there. So, Kamari Blair, offensive tackle. You look at Tennessee's class now, and, I mean, it's looking good. Specifically, let's talk about the offensive tackles right now. We'll come back to the class as a whole here in a moment. You now have 4-star offensive tackle Gabriel Ascenda from Baylor School, okay? He is nationally ranked 226. 247 has him as a top 20 overall player in the country. But he's nationally, according to the Rivals industry rankings, 225. Okay, you have now Kamari Blair, which I've already mentioned. He's nationally Rivals industry rankings 274, Rivals specific 224. He's an offensive tackle. You have JB Shabazz, who is national rank according to the Rivals industry rankings 308. Rivals specific, JB Shabazz is 65 in the country. So you've got one outlet that is so high on Gabriel Ascenda, and that's 247. You have one outlet in Rivals that is so high on JB Shabazz at number 65. And, you know, across the industry, everybody's in almost unison thought on Kamari Blair being a top 250 prospect. And then you have Ed Baker, who's going to be a guard, and JB Shabazz can play tackle and guard. Ed Baker's a strict guard, and he's very much more of a developmental player. He's actually the lowest ranked prospect in the recruiting class right now for Tennessee, but very much a developmental piece, but good size, 6'4", 315. So again, we talk about, you know, if you want to take some of these project players, and this is at any position, right? If you want to take some of these developmental players, some of these project players that you like, that you see, okay, they can get it, but it's going to take a little while, that's fine. I'm not discouraging that whatsoever. Some of Tennessee's better players in the last couple of years have been developmental players. You got to win some big ones as well. And so if you're going to take an Ed Baker, you got to win out for the Gabriel Ascendas, which Tennessee did. You got to win out for the JB Shabazzes, which Tennessee did. And you got to win out for the Kamari Blairs. This class, this offensive line class, boy, do I like it. 4-star Gabriel Ascenda, 4-star Kamari Blair, 4-star JB Shabazz, and 3-star Ed Baker. Glenn Ellerby has done a really, really good job with this offensive line class. And I know that's kind of been a negative on him throughout his coaching career here at Tennessee, is, you know, his work on the recruiting trail. This class is good. So you got to give him his props there, in my opinion. Tennessee's now up to 12th in the country, now up to 6th in the SEC, 23 total commits. And overall, man, do I like this class, led by 5-star quarterback Faison Brandon. Tennessee has 2 of the top 3 athletes in the class, okay? Or 2 of the top 4 athletes in the class, Celeste Moa and Joel Wyatt. Tennessee's got a couple of dang good linebackers in Braden Rouse and TJ White. And Tennessee, that makes Tennessee having 5 top 100 players. Tyreek King is in this class, Catholic high school. Rivals loves Tyreek King, thinking he's one of the best slot receivers in the class. We mentioned Gabriel Ascenda. Zach Groves, who I think he's a top 260 player nationally. Darion Albert on the interior defensive line. He's a top 260 national player. We spoke on Blair, spoke on Shabazz. And then you've got Morrison project player. Well, Legend Bay is a 4-star. He needs to be in this conversation. Zayden Anderson got a bump when he committed to Tennessee. He's up 329 nationally. Kedrick Golston, I like him. Darrell Rivers, Joel Combe, Luke Thompson, KJ McClain, Braylon Outlaw, CJ Edwards, Javonte Smith, Jamian Theodore, and Ed Baker. So, yeah, there's some developmental pieces here, and that's fine. But top half of this class, really impressive. And the offensive line, making a case to be very impressive. Might be the most impressive unit in this committed class so far. So job well done to Glenn Ellerby. Job well done to Tennessee. Kamari Blair flips from South Carolina to Tennessee because in the end, relationship, you got NIL, you've got players going to the league, you've got the locker room looking great, nutrition staff looking great, you got this, that, and the other, because I know that's my thing now. But in the end, sometimes it's just all about relationships. And like Desan Brame last summer, Kamari Blair, relationships won out as he flips from South Carolina to the University of Tennessee. So a good start to the weekend. It was actually Thursday when Kamari Blair flipped to the University of Tennessee, and Tennessee said, yeah, come on down. You know, we really, really want you to be a part of our class. Hey, when we come back, in my opinion, the most important game on the schedule for the Tennessee Volunteers this football season, that is coming up next. We continue on here. This is your Friday morning Locked On Vols. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for the football fans like you and me who live for the bold predictions and the preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions, so whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champion before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. Not just the NFL, college futures as well, Heisman, college football playoffs, SEC champions, national champions, and more. Get in on all that futures-wise on Futures Day. That's August the 26th. You can do it by visiting the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. Start planning your future bets now because Futures Day is one day, and it's one day only, August the 26th. FanDuel, it is where you can play your game. All right, guys, we continue our Scouting the Opponent series here on a Friday morning, and we have moved on into the month of November, kicking off the November slate, which I was asked on radio earlier this week, which month is most important for Tennessee? Is it tail end of August, September? Is it October, or is it November? And you can make the case for all three, but I said November because, man, I think the most important game on the schedule for Tennessee kicks off that month, November the 1st, with a home game against Oklahoma. On the road at Florida at the end of the year, and Vanderbilt with Diego Pavia, a healthy Diego Pavia, is never just a gimme right now. It's Tennessee's the far superior team. Tennessee should win, but it's not a gimme. So, and especially if you're trying to vie for a spot in the college football playoffs, the month of November is huge. But let's talk about Oklahoma. Oklahoma comes to Neyland Stadium. It's got that flex option, either 3:30 to 4:30 window or the 6 to 8 window, November the 1st. And I know some are hesitant to call this a make or break year for Brent Venables, but I'm going to call it. I think this is an absolute make or break year for Brent Venables. He's a great defensive coach. We know this. Defense last year was not its issue whatsoever. Offense was putrid. Offense was not good. It was a 6-7 total record, overall record, 2-6 in their first year in the Southeastern Conference. Welcome to it, right? And you know that it just irks Oklahoma and Oklahoma fans to see Texas coming in and having all that success in year number one. Offensively, tons and tons and tons of question marks, tons and tons and tons of injuries a season ago. Injuries at quarterback, tons of injuries at wide receiver, injuries on the offensive line. Injuries in the backfield. I mean, there were injuries everywhere. And that offense was next to last in the conference at 24 points per game. Okay. The offensive line gave up 50 sacks. That was second most in the league to South Carolina's 41. So it gave up, actually, that was last in the league. Excuse me. That was last in the league. The second closest, or the second most in the league, was South Carolina with 41. So Oklahoma gave up 9 more sacks than any other team in the SEC. And remember going into last year and talking about that Oklahoma game, that big Week 4 matchup, one of the storylines was how was that offensive line going to gel together? It was brand new. They had like 5 transfers on the offensive line. It did not go well. That offensive line also allowed, on average, 8 TFLs a game. That's not good. Offensively, Oklahoma last year was one of the worst in the Southeastern Conference, 14th to be exact, converting on third downs on only 38% of the time. So out is Seth Luttrell, and Tennessee knows that because the former head coach in North Texas, the former Oklahoma standout and teammate of Josh Heupel, is now an analyst for the University of Tennessee, and one of those many analyst hires this offseason. joining Hobby and Bonamago and Landry Jones and Alan Williams. There's a couple other ones as well. Man, Tennessee's got a really, really good support staff, or analyst staff as well. But Seth Luttrell is now at Tennessee. He was the offensive coordinator there last year. It didn't go well. Obviously, it did not go well, but he had a lot of injuries working against him as well. That offense was just really, really bad. And, of course, you've got the departure of Jackson Arnold. He left. He's going to Auburn. And every time I hear something coming out of training camp from Auburn, I just laugh. I mean, like, what's going on? 3 different quarterbacks you're going to play? 3 different play callers? It sounds like Jackson Arnold's not locked up that job, but nonetheless, the former 5-star is not there anymore. He transferred to Auburn. They do welcome back, Michael Hawkins, and he is not going to be QB1. I'll get to that here in a moment, but he came in and played a little bit against Tennessee, if you remember. 7 games, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks, 783 yards, added 204 yards on the ground. So surprisingly didn't transfer out. So they got a little bit of depth at quarterback. They do bring back last year's leading rusher, Javonte Barnes, who had nearly 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. But yeah, offensively, man, they needed a near overhaul, in my opinion. And you're starting fresh with a quarterback from Washington State and John Mateer. And if John Mateer clicks, man, Oklahoma can be dangerous. John Mateer, he accounted for 44 total touchdowns last year that tied Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick and franchise quarterback for your Tennessee Titans, for the most in FBS. 826 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns. The quarterback threw for 3,131 yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He was good. Can that translate to the Southeastern Conference? If it can, watch out for Oklahoma. It's a brutal schedule, but Oklahoma, man, could be good at the quarterback position. Not only John Mateer did you bring in, you also brought in Jaden Ott, running back from Cal, one of the better running backs on the market. 2023, phenomenal year. 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns. Last year was injured, so not a whole lot going on there. But in 3 years at Cal, he had 96 receptions out of the backfield as well. So kind of a new-look offense led by new offensive coordinator Ben Auerbach from Washington State, who brought his quarterback in John Mateer, and, of course, Jaden Ott from Cal. New OC, new quarterback, new running back. Also brought in Derek Simmons from Western Carolina to compete at right tackle. Transitioning to defense, last year's defense was not bad for Oklahoma whatsoever. 6th most yards given up in the league on average, 318. That's solid. 21.5 points per game, which is a decent number. That was 9th in the SEC, but not horrible. But the defense had no help. This is a glaring stat right here. I got this from Rob Lewis, VolQuest.com. When opponents reached the 21-point mark in a game, Oklahoma was 0-6. I mean, the offense just didn't help anybody out. Didn't help anybody out whatsoever. So you do bring in an edge rusher, Marvin Jones from Florida State, who actually began his career at Georgia. Bring that in on the defensive front. You continue to feel good about the defensive front with experienced guys at the defensive tackle position, and David Stone and Jaden Jackson. Nose tackle, Dominic Williams, who had 4.5 TFLs, 35 tackles a season ago. So they're experienced up front. Linebacker, you bring back your 3rd leading tackler, Kip Lewis. Of course, last year's leading tackler was Danny Stutzman, 109 tackles. He's off to the NFL. Bring back Kip Lewis, who was 3rd on the team in tackles at linebacker. And then the secondary, like Tennessee, in my opinion, should be a strength of that defense. Starting safety, Robert Spears Jennings, who was the 2nd leading tackler, is back. Experience at corner with Eli Bowen and Gentry Williams. Those guys are back. 8 defensive starters return all told for Oklahoma on the defensive side of the football. That was pretty decent last year. A couple of departures. I mentioned Jackson Arnold, Danny Stutzman to the NFL. Tight end Bauer Sharp, who actually led Oklahoma in receptions last year with 42 because they were so thin at wide receiver. He's off to LSU. So this game is important. I think Oklahoma is going to be significantly better than was last year. I think they're going to have dynamic playmaker. I think that at quarterback, I think they're going to have good, solid run game, okay, with Barnes and, of course, adding Ott into the mix. And that's a game for Tennessee that kicks off the November slate. I got that, you're looking at the month of October where you host Arkansas, then you go to Alabama, then you go to Kentucky, then that next week you come back home to take on Oklahoma before a bye. And then that sends you into a spiral towards the end of the season. New Mexico State at home, at Florida, and then Vanderbilt at home. Most important game on the schedule, in my opinion, is Tennessee-Oklahoma. Oklahoma's going to be looking for revenge. Oklahoma's going to be much improved. And if you're just looking at our friends over at FanDuel and that win-loss record, right, 8.5. If you're just looking at that in terms of totals, you can hit the over, you can hit the under. Say Tennessee loses to the Big Three. I'm just trying to, easiest path to 9-3, right? Say Tennessee loses to Georgia, loses on the road at Florida and Alabama. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying, say Tennessee does that. What game on the schedule is going to forbid you from reaching that over? Which game on the schedule is going to slow you down from reaching 9 wins? In my opinion, that's Oklahoma at home. And so I think this is a very, very important game for not only Josh Heupel, as it always is against Oklahoma, but for Tennessee overall in terms of hitting that over, that 8.5 over at FanDuel Sportsbook. So anyway, that's a look at the Sooners, a much improved football team in my opinion. We'll see how much improved. We'll see what Tennessee looks like. We'll see what Oklahoma looks like on November the 1st when the Sooners come rolling in to Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, when we come back, some enhancements to the game day experience at Neyland Stadium this football season. I'll tell you what those are and so much more when we return right here on Locked On Vols. Guys, you probably heard of Viagra or Cialis and maybe you've even tried them for yourself, but if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiet Ready. Rougiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average, in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. Head on over to Rougiet.com/LockedOnCollege and put in that promo code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's Rougiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are not permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing review. Please visit Rougiet website for full safety information. All right, guys, we got a final segment left here of this week's worth of Locked On Vols. And hey, guess what? Next week is game week. Getting into our game week programming, it'll really hit at full speed after the first game because, again, it's really, really simple. I love doing the shows during football season because we got so much going on. Still going to do Throwback Thursday segments with Noah Taylor, shifting that from 2 segments down to 1. This week, we're going to talk about Tennessee and Syracuse first matchup, so looking forward to that. Boogie Bentley will be on Friday's show. We'll have crossovers whenever we can. Hoping to catch up with the Syracuse guys and have a crossover at some point. We've got Josh Ward coming up on Wednesday, as always. So, yeah, a lot going on during game week, and buckle up and get ready to roll because it is almost here. Speaking of which, the first game obviously is not at Neyland Stadium. Week 2 against ETSU is going to be that home opener. You got some new enhancements that are going to be presented this year for the fans. This was sent out via press release and an email over the weekend. Of course, I know the big news this week is 4% and season ticket prices going into effect next year. And I know we kind of talked about that earlier in the week a little bit. I know there's a lot of opinions on that and everything, but a lot of that increase in price is to keep up with the price of doing business. And right now, Brent Hubb said it the other day, I mean, doing business in college athletics sucks right now. It does. It's brutal because you're in a race to get the nicest everything. And then, of course, you got rev share coming, and you got to find a way to fund that. And, the era of NIL and all that. I mean, there's just so much going on. But, there are going to be some things put into place that's going to, help the fan experience for sure. The biggest of which I think fans are going to love this year is the Rocky Top Wi-Fi project is completed, okay? State-of-the-art Wi-Fi system, fully functional throughout the venue. Fans are encouraged to utilize the network and stay connected on their mobile devices during games. I'm reading from the email that I got. I remember, I've been covering Tennessee for the last 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So this will be my 9th year covering the University of Tennessee. So I've not gone to a game as a fan in a long time. But I remember going to those games as a fan, and you couldn't load a snap, couldn't send a picture, couldn't send out a tweet. It was awful. And I know you guys are experiencing that for sure. So the completed version of the Rocket Top Wi-Fi I think is going to be awesome, and it was absolutely needed for sure. So that's the biggest thing in my opinion that's going to be affecting fans. Cashless venue. All University of Tennessee athletic venues are going cashless this season during the 25 to 26 academic year. Neyland Stadium, a part of that as well. Cashless venue. Fans should be prepared as they approach concession stands, Vol shop, or any retail locations inside the stadium. It is a cashless venue. The west side entry, expanded perimeter around the west side entry of Neyland Stadium to help further speed up the entry and walk through. Metal detectors are going to be moved up to Philip Fulmer Way, actually, to kind of speed up that process. So if you enter the stadium through the west side, that's what you have to be conscious of. Updated chairbacks, new chairback seats that were installed in the bowl of Neyland Stadium last season now have an updated design. Limit the amount of chair that it reclines to those seated behind each fan. I heard a lot of complaints about that, so that's really, really good. This improvement feature will be on the chairbacks around the stadium, so you like to hear that. The south end zone, a lot of updates here. So gate 9, it's doubled in size. They've been working on that for quite some time. It's going to help, obviously, get in and out of the stadium for sure. And the Southwest Plaza has expanded to, again, ease congestion. Truly's Tailgate, located outside of Gate 10, has expanded with Texas Roadhouse, so fans can enjoy pregame and throughout the game. Other new Truly's Tailgate food options: scoops of ice cream, good old chicken shack, Mac and More macaroni and cheese, Petro's chili and chips, Calhoun's, the General's Grill, and more. So a lot of new food options. Larger restrooms, new UT Medical First Aid Station will be there as well. Fans will discover a vintage volunteer trailer located behind Section M on the new South Concourse of Neyland Stadium. That shop will offer vintage gear and unique items. That's cool. And a new elevator has been added to the southwest corner of Neyland Stadium, allowing patrons to access all 3 levels on the south. So if you enter through the south part of the stadium, the south end zone part, around gate 9, that's what you had to look forward to as well. So I've hit on some of the big ones. There's a couple other ones as well. New concession items. I'm not going to read the full list here, but along with offering new fresh offerings at the Truly's Tailgate, fans around Neyland Stadium can purchase new concession items throughout the venue, including buffalo chicken mac and cheese, new Knoxville flavored chicken tenders. I like chicken tenders. I wonder what the Knoxville flavored chicken tenders taste like. That sounds good. Curly fries, rotating chef specials in select areas. Hello, ice cream, and so much more. In that release, they have another link listed to all the new concession items, so you guys can check that out. Here's one that I thought was interesting: the west sideline signage. And again, I knew about this. I don't know why I phrased it that way, but I can't wait to see what it looks like. Returning to Neyland Stadium this season, fans will see fixed signage along the west sideline showcasing Tennessee's football's retired numbers and national championships. Changes were made to this area due to ongoing construction projects and those enhancements. So the retired numbers and the championship dates are coming back to the west sideline. There's premium seating enhancements, new graphics, murals, modern Tennessee branding have been applied to lobbies at gate 15 and 19. New windows have been installed on both the east and the west skyboxes. Suite holders will see improvement to the functionality of those windows. I'm in the other press box, right? The one I'm talking about right now. Pre-game updates. Okay, so this is the big one. I probably should have let off with one of these. If you're still with me, listen to this. The Pride of the Southland will come down Peyton Manning Pass this season for the band march. The Pride will no longer pass over the pedestrian bridge prior to entering Neyland Stadium. The salute to the hill will take place at the bottom of Peyton Manning Pass and Philip Fulmer Way. So that's I know a lot of people, Austin Price included. Every time we're doing our stand-up outside the game, he's got to stop and watch the band pass over that bridge. They're not going that way anymore. So that's something you have to pay attention to. Security is going to be enhanced near the south end. Fans will be asked to walk through metal detectors in the southeast corner of Neyland Stadium, closer to the engineering building, while extending the middle walkway of the G10 garage onto the south pedestrian walkway on Philip Fulmer Way outside of the G10 entrance. Philip Fulmer Way is going to be closed. So beginning this fall, Peyton Manning Pass and Philip Fulmer Way from Cumberland Avenue to Lake Loudon Boulevard will be closed. The closure will go into place each game day at 5 a.m. Eastern Time. So only vehicles with permits to drive into some of these lots will be allowed to go through there. No vehicles will be permitted outside of that. The changes provide enhanced security measures in the most congested areas surrounding Neyland Stadium, minimizing risk, and creates a safe game day experience. So there's that. Fans can get parking passes. Parking passes will utilize the same mobile technology as tickets. Fans will no longer see a QR code and should see a moving barcode on all parking passes. So there's that. There's updated public shuttles and ride shares to the stadium. So yeah, those are some of the big things. Again, this is more of a newsworthy segment because I know a lot of people listening go to the games, right? And so I'm sure you've seen some of these changes already. But again, a lot of changes coming to Neyland Stadium, specifically to help get in. So a lot of these construction updates and projects have been going on, trying to ease the congestion and facilitate the entry and departure into Neyland Stadium to making it more like Gate 21. So Gate 9 is going to be a benefit of that. Gate 10 is going to be a benefit of that. And so that's awesome. So can't wait to get back to Neyland Stadium. First home game, ETSU. What is that, like September the 6th? September the 6th. Yeah, September the 6th. Can't wait for that. All right. That is going to do it here for today's edition of Locked On Vols. Can't thank you enough for being here, making Locked On Vols your first listen, your first watch each and every single morning. Tell your friends, tell your family members, this is the podcast for them, especially during football season. What are you waiting on, right? Game week is coming up. We are so excited to be in game week and can't wait to hit it hard on Monday and carry you all the way to kickoff right here on Locked On Vols. Every dayers couldn't do the show without you. For your second listen, your second watch, check out Locked On SEC. Our guy Chris Gordy does a fantastic job. Until Monday, everybody, when it's game week, have a great, safe rest of your weekend, everybody. This is Locked On Vols.